Alright guys, I just want to give an update on this WRIGHT Genesis. So I don't regret getting it in flat grind. I know that I would have enjoyed the Scandi version. I have a lot of Scandis already though. I'm sitting right next to a Morricon's bowl. I'll have it in the next video. A Brissa Enzo Trapper 95. Great Scandinavian blade. A little thin on the scales, but really good M2 steel. That's why I'm a fan of this one. They just don't compare though when it comes to the kitchen, food processing, skinning game, that kind of thing. And the handle on this is excellent. So there's just two things, maybe three things that I really like about it. I think I'll cover those three things, maybe give a couple things I wish were slightly different, but there's a reason why I like this blade so much, and I think it's superior to the other blades in the function of the kitchen or skinning. First of all, the comfort. That's a big deal. If you're going to work with this and wood, you know, it's not going to be as good as a Scandi, that's for sure, but it still can do it. I've carved some spoons out with it. I've done quite a few feather sticks with it. It takes a little bit of processing because it's not the same as a Scandi grind. You kind of have to relearn the angle, the edge angle when you're working with wood. But aside from wood, if you're just doing quick things, debarking or something like that, this is a perfect knife. It's fantastic. It does baton well. I've put this thing in, and I've had some serious flex, batoning and cross batoning. No snap because it's 3V. So I think they've done a great job over at WRIGHT knives with the heat treat on the 3V. I think it's a good choice for a flat grind knife because of the toughness. Still have a factory edge right now, although I have honed it. It's pretty much a factory edge. I haven't taken any material off. It's still extremely sharp. It's definitely hair shaving sharp. I don't even have any hair left on my arm to show you because I've been working with blades a lot lately, testing them. So that handle is a really big deal to me. Most knives are not big enough for me. I wear extra large size gloves. I'm about 6'5", 240 pounds. So that's just to give you an idea of my size, my hands. Most knives are just too small. I have to carry these big pocket knives because if I'm going to work with something for an extended period of time, the other ones are just so small they really kill my hand. There's just not enough there to hold on to. And so the Bush Ranger, the Ultimate Hunter, things you've seen on the channel, these are ones that are just big enough. Even so, I wish they were bigger and rounder, more contoured. You've seen this in older videos, this Enzo Trapper and M2. Love the blade, but it's, you know, it's just a little thin. And those are nice rounded, contoured handles. But I like a neutral handle that doesn't have features like this is. That's why I rounded off and ground off this nub here and the tail. Because when you're trying to do chest levers or all sorts of different cuts, that stuff gets in the way. Same thing with jimping. I hate jimping. Here's a Rat 7. First thing I did is cut that jimping off and convex the edge in that particular blade. Anyways, rabbit trail. Coming back to this one, it's a little thicker here, like a typical Kephart. Comes down to a thinner broadness right there. Nice and thick. It's about an inch thick. So my finger is about an inch. It's about an inch thick right there, which is good enough in the thickness. It is a nice round handle. It doesn't roll in my hand. The only problem I have with it is I do tend to have to go up here, and I like blades to go all the way back. I do not need any extra sharpening choil. Some people really love that. I hate it. I do not want a sharpening choil. I want this edge to go all the way back to have full function so that I can get as close as possible to that edge and have great control over fine projects, especially when you're woodworking, guys, or even just doing a little whittling. This knife would be more effective, in my opinion, if it just goes all the way back. That's kind of a nitpick, but it's something I prefer. The handle itself, again, something that I wish was just slightly different. The thickness is good, probably great. The broadness, I guess they're going for a Kephart, so it looks right, but for me, for comfort, for feel, the way that I would have to make this knife is a little more handle heavy by keeping material in here. Instead of having this reduction in material, there would be no guard. And a perfect WRIGHT for me would be this blade design. It's great for the kitchen, great for skinning, and then no reduction right here. The lack of broadness does not complement the thickness quite as much as people think it does. I hear a lot of people say that this knife will fit any person's hand. Well, generally that's true. It's way better. I mean, it's light years better than just about everything else I've put in my hand. But for a big guy who wants a shorter blade thinner stock thickness. There's just nothing out there that even comes close. I have to custom make my own knives to get them the way I want them, because most knife handles are just so thin and small, I end up touching fingers in here. And if you don't know about that, when it comes to heavy knife use, if your fingers can touch the palm of your hand, you can't get as good of a grip, you can't grip as tightly, and also this right here is going to turn into fatigue. And so I think most people, most people are not my size and height and don't have extra large size hands. Most people, it's going to be great. I put it in my wife's hands, it's perfect. It's like the best kitchen knife in the world for her right now. And it's really, really good for me. But I could just say a slight improvement would be if there was not a reduction in material here. I'm not worried about my hands slipping forward and slicing my fingers. I know a lot of people talk about that, but there's not a lot of stabbing that people are actually doing, unless you're like one of these crazy YouTube guys who is just stabbing a tree stump. Even then, there's plenty of grip, plenty of hand strength. Hands are not going to be sliding forward on there, even when it's wet or bloody. I just don't think that's a good excuse. Now this is sticking to a Kephart design, so I'm not going to criticize it. I'm just going to let you guys know that for me, a preference would be nix the guard. There doesn't need to be a guard here at all. That little wedge that's sticking out, don't worry about that. Just keep the thickness all the way back, or the broadness rather, and also the thickness, because I think that's really good. Very nice neutral handle, very comfortable, excellent chest lever or traditional cuts, hammer cuts, any of that kind of stuff. I think this handle is like, it's got to be one of the best on a production knife right now. I do have things I wish were different, but as far as Kepharts go, this is the best Kephart inspired knife on the market. It's a great flat grind. I think you guys should get it. If you're looking for a really good kitchen knife, I don't know of anything that's better than this, including WRIGHT's other kitchen knives. If you need something bigger, that's understandable, with longer blade, processing like watermelon or something large like that, I guess I could understand. But for regular meat cutting, cutting up onions, apples, kind of the usual cooking stuff, this seems like the best of the best. I don't regret it at all. It's fantastic, and I really like those blood red scales. Excellent work, LT Wright.